Greg Pateryn. What a dick. Welcome into it, Hockey Talk Show. Nice to be back here with you live now on a Wednesday night. We're going to be talking about this big Andrew Shaw hit. Greg Pateryn. He's not really a dick. I tease. But he did have some pretty spicy comments after this hit that was delivered from Andrew Shaw. If you didn't see it, we will show it to you on this episode of the Hockey Talk Show. Plus, I want to catch up with some of the big trade deadline moves and just see how some of those players are doing in their new spots, and the Bobby Ryan, Erik Carlson deal that never was, but could have been, and may still be come the off season. Hockey Talk Show with you here on a Wednesday. Hopefully we resolved some of our sound issues. I think we're doing pretty okay. Give me the thumbs up on the video if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, and of course, if you're taking this in on the podcast, you can always rate and review and help us spread the word via podcasting networks, wherever you're watching or listening from. At Hockey Talk Show on Twitter, I want to mention that. And of course, the home for the Hockey Talk Show is hockeytalkshow.com, baby. Any comments or questions or anything that you want to cover or talk about on the show, make sure you guys throw it in the comments below, Facebook and YouTube. I'm watching the chat rooms, and we'll be sure to address it here, as it should be a fairly quick one tonight, in and out. And once again, just want to thank all the folks over at NHL Red Light Hockey for allowing us to come into their group. They are wonderful people. I'm sure a lot of them, I know there's a lot of Dallas fans in there, going to want to be talking about this big hit last night. If you didn't hear the comments of Greg Pateryn afterwards, it was pretty feisty. It was pretty feisty and spicy. So we'll play you the clips on that one. I'm actually going to give you the video, too, because I want you to see Greg's face as he's talking. It was pretty intense. I mean, it was really intense. And as a quick side note, I want to get back to the earlier shows. We're broadcasting live at 8:12 Eastern Standard Time right now. I know this time kind of sucks. Everybody's winding down and everybody's they're watching their hockey games. We want to get on back to our 3 or 4 o'clock times, but things have just been flat out insane. Quickly here, I want to take a look at some of the big names that moved, most notably Thomas Tatar. 7 games now with the Vegas Golden Knights, only 1 goal. Not doing all that great with Vegas so far. Again, we got to cut these guys some slack. Nobody's going to, come rushing out of the gate with amazingness, but 1 goal in 7 games for the Vegas Golden Knights. I know that's pretty disappointing, at least for the Vegas fans, for Thomas Tatar. I would love to see him kick things into gear a little bit higher, a little bit more. Ryan Reeves has an assist. For instance, Ryan Reeves has an assist. So Thomas Tatar and Ryan Reeves have the same exact amount of points since joining the Vegas Golden Knights. Doesn't speak highly from Thomas Tatar's standpoint right now. I know he's playing with Erik Haula and David Perron. Got to work out chemistry right there. We'll see what comes of that. Columbus, however, is doing crazy good with Ian Cole, Thomas Vanek, and Mark Letestu. Now, Mark Letestu, only 1 goal in 8 games. Thomas Vanek, 3 points, 2 goals, and assists in 7. Ian Cole has 2 goals and 2 assists, 4 points in 8 games since joining the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's outstanding. And obviously it's paying off for Columbus, as they are well in the race now in the East. First wild card position for them. Jersey has fallen to number 2. I said a while ago I thought Jersey would fall and falter, and then they've regained it, and they were really in it for a while. But now we've seen, Philly's been hotter than Jersey. Columbus has been hotter than Jersey. Question's going to become, are the Florida Panthers hotter than the New Jersey Devils? I mean, we could be in a scenario here where the Florida Panthers are in and the Devils are out after being in it for all year. That would be catastrophic for Devils fans. That would be horrific for New York City Metropolitan Hockey, because to have all 3 teams out would be pretty damn devastating. Really, really devastating. So it looks right now, and you know, what's his name has done okay in Boston. I don't have the stats up for Rick Nash, but Boston is, you know, they're getting along. They're doing all right. They're handling their business so far. Again, we didn't really need Rick Nash to come on in here and light things up like insanity. And he's done okay. 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points in 9 games. So forget that. Rick Nash is doing outstanding for his team. If you're just joining us, we're just going over some of the trade deadline moves. Thomas Tatar, not really sparking it in Vegas just yet. Ian Cole seems to be huge in Columbus. Rick Nash, great numbers so far in Boston out of the deals that were done at the deadline. Those seem to be 3 pretty significant ones. That's paying dividends for their teams. If you have not seen the Andrew Shaw hit, we'll show it to you right now. We got a couple of angles here. Andrew Shaw essentially put a hit on Greg Pateryn and knocked himself out. It doesn't really happen all that often where you get a hit in the National Hockey League and the person throwing the hit hurts themselves more than the person that was set to receive the hit. But as you'll see from the clip here, we will definitely show you that that is the case for tonight. Susan Sarandon is in between the benches with Pierre Maguire on NBCSN broadcast of the Rangers-Penguins game. Is that real? Is Susan Sarandon really in there? Holy cow. Did they invite her because she has massive eyes and she can do the replay on offsides calls? Is that what is that the appeal? See, very disappointed in me tonight. That's not necessary. Poor Susan Sarandon's a sweetheart. Doesn't deserve such abuse. Is that really happening? Because that's amazing. That is amazing. And also a little sad at the same time that that's what we have to do to draw interest into the Ranger games now. She's a massive Ranger fan. No joke. I thought it was just before the game, but she's still talking. She's not leaving. If you're that big of a Ranger fan, as Susan is, and you got invited down to talk to Pierre pre-game, you'd stay too, though, right? I would. I'd stay. I'd be like, Pierre, I'm going to stay here. I'd be listening up, Smoothhead. I'm going to stick around here for a little while, see if I can't help you out, call some action. I hope they put a helmet on her. You know, those pucks come over the boards pretty damn quick. We can't have Susan Sarandon knocked out on the side of the rink. That's not going to be a good scenario. We're going to have to screen cap that, or we'll get that on tomorrow's show. We'll see if there's any highlights to that. Is she talking crazy talk, or is she just being normal? I don't know if she could handle normal. That's amazing. I can't believe we're missing Susan Sarandon in between the benches. What I'd really like to see is her being introduced into EA Sports NHL 19. That would be the best. That would be amazing if we could have Pierre, and then as a bonus, you get Susan Sarandon. Pierre told her that if things get crazy, to get behind him. Better than Milbury. Tom, easy there. I love Mike Milbury. He's a treasure to our game. He can't call a game worth a hell, but he's a treasure. Boy, Milbury is so much better in the studio as an analyst than he is in the arena, isn't he? You listen to Milbury during those games and you miss Eddie-O so bad. He doesn't have the flair to call the game, but he's brilliant in studio. There is not really a better combination than JR and Milbury. I mean, that is always super entertaining. If there's a segment with Milbury and JR in studio, I tend to stick around a lot more. Milbury is way better at washing my car. Well, he's better at washing your car and being an analyst than he is at being a general manager. That's for damn sure. Back to Andrew Shaw. Let's take a look at the hit here for my man. And then I want you to hear Greg Pateryn's comments, and I want you to see his face because it was not a lovely thing. All right, there's the hit. So this is the behind view. This is a GIF, so this is going to keep replaying. Here's Pateryn. Boom. There's the hit right there. And you'll watch Shaw goes down and he is out instantly. We found out after the game. That's what Greg says. I'll play the comment in a second. But you'll see him there. His head's against the boards. He is knocked out. He got knocked out instantly. And Pateryn gets up and gives him a little business there, which I don't have too much of a problem with. But I think once he realized he stopped, but still, I mean, that was a little, it was a second too late. Let's take a look at this other angle. Here's a side view angle. You can see, boom, right there. Oh, just face on helmet. Watch Shaw. Oh, you could see it right there. Just face on helmet. Knocked out, stretchered off. Not a great night for Andrew Shaw. Let's go over to Greg Pateryn's post-game comments. This is what he had to say.
With the play with Andrew Shaw, what did you see and how did you see that unfold?
I thought he took a run at me. I mean, I'll take a look at it again, but it seemed like his head hit mine. And, it was, there's a reason why a guy like that gets 4 or 5 concussions a year. And, I think his play speaks for himself.
Ouch. Ouch. There's a reason why a guy like that gets 4 or 5 concussions a year. A little brutal. That's a little brutal. It doesn't look like Greg Pateryn is in the Andrew Shaw fan club whatsoever. And I get it. Look, Greg's the tough guy for the Dallas Stars. He's in it every day. He's battling. God knows what sort of things. Words are exchanged. Hits are exchanged. I'm not sure how many times these two have come together in the course of their career. But I know how nasty a National Hockey League game can get. And I know that, players don't forget. But you look at Greg's eyes in this interview. It's stone cold. He's pissed. A guy just got knocked out on the ice, and he doesn't seem to have any empathy whatsoever. There's no remorse, and it's not like that he did anything. He just took the hit. So I don't expect him to be like, But, a lot of times when that happens, you'll hear guys go, look, I gave the guy a call, or I went to go visit him, or, I walked over to the trainer's room on the other side to make sure he's okay. I checked in. I had, the trainer checked in for me. I'm going to give him a call later on. So, some form of, nicety. I'm all for, I want to kill that guy on the ice. But, once you get into the locker room, you got to ease off it a little bit. I don't know. Like, Shaw's got, I think he's married. I don't know if he has kids, but he's got family. He's got a mom and a dad, that's for sure. He's here. He's got a mom and a dad. So, just a little bit of, I don't know, empathy, I guess, is what I'm going for here. But look at his eyes. He's like stone cold. I'll skip ahead a little bit here. I don't have this queued up exactly, but I know they ask him about it again towards the end of the interview. Actually, you want to hear the beginning again? Yeah, let's go back over this.
Start with the play with Andrew Shaw. What did you see and how did you see that unfold?
I thought he took a run at me. I'll take a look at it again, but it seemed like his head hit mine. And, it was, there's a reason why a guy like that gets 4 or 5 concussions a year. And, I think his play speaks for himself.
Yeah.
Like, again, we go back to the Tom Dundon quote in the Ron Francis is fired / promoted, get out of the way, not a GM anymore press release. And the GM is going to report directly to me. It doesn't need to be said. There's a reason why a player like that gets 5 concussions a year. Doesn't exactly need to be said. It doesn't need to be said. It doesn't really need to be said. All right, let's skip again here. They ask him about it towards the end. I'm sorry, I don't have this queued up.
Sorry, getting back to the Shaw hit there. It's like, when he was down on the ice, you gave him a couple of shots there, but then you pulled back on it. Like, did you realize...
He was knocked out as soon as he hit me. He knocked himself out when he hit me. So I didn't realize he was knocked out until he was on the ice and, his eyes were in the back of his head. So, you play like that. That's what happens sometimes. So,
should there have been a call on the Shaw on the interference?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll look at it again, but that's the ref's call, and I talked to them about it. They saw what they saw, I saw what I saw, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's unbelievable. Like, again, I'm gonna go back to this one part where he goes here.
And I didn't realize he was knocked out until he was on the ice, and his eyes were in the back of his head. So, you play like that. That's what happens sometimes.
You play like that. That's what happens. And look, I I'm a fan of Andrew Shaw's. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm a fan of him. I love his game. I think he helped Chicago win their cups. I was surprised that he got moved over to Montreal. Or did he sign? He signed with. Anyway, I was surprised that Chicago didn't make more of an effort to keep him in the organization. He hits hard. He plays the game hard. Is he dirty? He can be. Is he the dirtiest player in the game? He's no Brad Marchand. And that's my point entirely. Like, when I see the plays that Brad Marchand makes, they're terribly dirty. And they're with intent to injure. And they're very irresponsible. Shaw hits hard. He finishes checks. Is he a saint? No. Has he made some mistakes? Has he made some bad plays? Yeah. But for the most part, like, I don't think he deserves. I mean, this guy, there is zero. If I need somebody to pull the plug on, if I got a coma and I need somebody to pull the plug on me, I'm calling Greg Pateryn, because this guy has got ice water rolling through his veins. Just ice water. Just that face of like, yeah, well, you play that kind of, he knocked himself out, you play that kind of, like a little concern after the fact. I get that you're all fighting for things. I get that there's 31 teams, but you're part of a brotherhood, You're a National Hockey League player. There's not many people who can say that right now. There's not many people who can say that over the course of history. A little tender love and care towards your fellow hockey players. Jeez. Stone cold, like, to hell with that guy. Like, it feels a little cold to me. It feels way, way too cold to me. I don't know. If you disagree, I would love to hear in comments, whether you're watching this live or you're watching a replay on demand whenever you feel like. Am I crazy here, or is Greg Pateryn kind of a dick? I know we got a lot of Dallas fans, and my man Dustin's not going to like it, but I like that the guy plays with bite. I like that he's tough. I like that he's a no-nonsense kind of a thing. Liz, awesome question. Is there history? I don't know. I've never really seen anything. A quick search. It's the two tough guys on each team, so I'm sure there's something there, but it's not like epic history, Maybe there is more to it. Maybe we'll get more in the next couple of days, but am I crazy here, or is this just way too cold? Way, way too cold. I don't know. There's just something that's unsettling about it. I like that a guy tries to knock a guy's block off. I like that a guy wants to put somebody else on their ass. I want every guy like this to go into a game going, I want to make sure everybody's looking straight up at the lights at the end of the game because they're on their back. But once that buzzer sounds, I like that they leave it behind. I think it makes them better people, better players. It's Warriors. You're in the game. That's one thing. But to carry it that much outside of it as well, I don't know. I get it that you're being hardcore and all that, but just a little like, I hope he's okay, or, whatever. He's acting like, the weird thing is, and it's a little bit of a double standard. You can call me out for this, but if it happens to Brad Marchand, I'm like, yeah, good. Brad Marchand deserves it, because he is like over the top dirty and injured people, just awful. Andrew Shaw plays the game extremely hard. On the edge, yeah. Dirty at times, he can be. But that's his game. He plays hard. He's got a scoring touch. He can hit really well. Like, I respect his game. Marchand, I don't respect. I just don't think he's... I just think he's awful. I don't think he's a good person. He competes hard and all that stuff, but I think he literally tries to hurt people, which is why I don't like him. Like, Shaw there, I don't know. I don't believe it was in his intent to hit Greg Pateryn with his head. I think it just happened. Now, if you want to say he's irresponsible or, he's reckless, all right. But as you'll see, that affects him just as much. Does he get a lot of concussions? He's got some concussion history. I'm sure he can tighten up that end of his game. But he doesn't deserve to get knocked out. I mean, again, just a smidge of empathy when that happens to you. Let's talk about the trade that never was, because I'm excited about this, because I think this is the trade that never was, but someday very well might be. Don Brennan from the Ottawa Sun, who's not the normal beat writer for the Senators. That's Bruce Garrick, who does a really good job and is very big on rumors. Don Brennan reports that Bobby Ryan thought that he and Carlson were for sure on their way out of Ottawa. Now, this came from Ryan talking to Brennan. There's no quotes, but this is Don Brennan's report. He heard that there was a deal in place that would send the pair to a Western Conference club, but somebody backed out at the last minute. Brennan speculates the trade conversations involving the duo will likely continue in the offseason, saying, quote, the Senators will surely entertain trade talks for Carlson at the draft, and in order to get the captain, they'll ask that Ryan be included in the package. We've been talking about this ad nauseum. We know that the price tag for Carlson includes taking Ryan. The Sens want to shed the remaining 4 years, $7.25 million of Ryan's contract. If a trade isn't possible, Brennan believes the Senators will buy him out. I believe they will trade him, and I believe we all know who that Western Conference club was. It's the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, come on. There was the rumor that he was going to go there. Was it anybody else? They could fit both contracts under their cap. It's Vegas. And I find this to be really interesting because I think that Erik Carlson will be a Vegas Golden Knight come the offseason. I just think that George McPhee sees what he has and knows that he's got a great puck-moving defense core right now. If he adds Carlson to the mix, he is through the roof. Whether or not Bobby Ryan plays, I don't know, and it's insignificant because whether he plays and contributes, great. And if he doesn't, he gets bought out, and to hell with him. And you could carry his 7.25 for the next 4 years. It won't affect the Vegas Golden Knights at all. They got a lot of cap space, and the cap's going up again. But I think that Erik Carlson's going to be a Vegas Golden Knight. I don't know. I could just see it being that way. And you know what? For as nice of an acquisition as Thomas Tatar was, I mean, we started the show talking about the fact that, you know, maybe he's not working out so far or just yet. It might be Tatar that goes back the other way. I mean, it might be, especially if he doesn't work out, especially if there is no chemistry there. I'm not saying he goes the other way, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. It'll be interesting to see these rumors and how they ruminate because they will be once Vegas is eliminated from the playoffs, whenever that is. And whether it's first round or last round, you know, Ottawa's not going to be in it. And you know that as soon as Vegas is done, people are going to start chirping again about this deal. I just think that Ottawa is done. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's a quick and easy Google. Just Google Erik Carlson and the team picture. Have you seen this? Erik Carlson could not look more disinterested. And what's funny is we didn't report at it at the time, but Erik Carlson talked about it, and he said, you know, you put a camera on anybody for 20 minutes, and for 3 seconds, they're going to look unhappy, which is very true. But I'm sorry. I mean, they just look like there was no love lost there. No love lost whatsoever. He just did not look happy. I got a YouTube on it. Let's see here. What we got? Let me see. All right, let's see if we can get this up for you guys really quick. I didn't plan on doing this, so we're kind of just doing it on the fly here.
That I've been in before. You smile for the camera, take a few photos. It's a little bit annoying to sit still for a long time, and nothing really other than that.
Well, it didn't look like it when the owner walked onto the ice. He shook all our hands and was in good spirits, so I don't think there's any tension between us.
While speculation continues about...
All right, so there you go. Everybody's downplaying it. I don't know. I watched it. Again, I agree. It wasn't much of a clip, but for the most part, you just kind of look at it and you're like, that looks like there's animosity there. And how could there not be? I mean, you're the captain of the team and the owner wants nothing to do with you. I mean, There's all these rumors. They never handled any. They didn't handle anything right from day one. They asking for his trade list, making him walk back his statements about his contract and all that stuff. I mean, it's just not a good situation over there. Rick Carpiniello was asked about the New York Rangers and if there are any untouchables on the Rangers roster. He believes no one is untouchable, even Henrik Lundqvist, which we've been touching on this a little bit. I'm fascinated about Erik Carlson, number one, to me. That's going to be the most interesting offseason move because I think he goes. Number two, and I can't believe I'm saying this because he really should be number one, but John Tavares and his contract situation, although I just have a feeling he stays. I don't know. I just feel like he's going to stay, even though the Islanders are going to miss the playoffs, which I can't believe. But it's more of a possibility that he leaves, but I think he's going to stay. But Tavares 2, Carlson 1, Tavares 2, and Henrik Lundqvist number 3. I also found it interesting that Rick was reporting that nobody was really interested in Matt Zuccarello, that his name was out there, but nobody really nobody really bid into him. Obviously, he's still with the Rangers, but I find that shocking because Zuccarello is one of the great players in the league, super underrated, really affordable, tons of effort, not a lot of size, but he makes up for it everywhere else. And I'm just shocked that nobody made a run for him. I really, really am surprised. I'm really surprised. I don't know where that leaves him with the Rangers moving forward, but you can bet that any free agent or big trade discussion, including Carlson, even though I think it makes the most sense he goes to Vegas, will involve the New York Rangers in the offseason, which is also, again, the kind of exciting thing that you guys have to look forward to if you're a Ranger fan. I mean, I know this year sucked, but looking forward, think of all the shiny new toys you could possibly get, or it's going to be talked about you guys getting, because anytime there's a free agent, the conversation is going to be, and maybe the New York Rangers, and possibly the New York Rangers. And you know who's rumored to get blah, blah, blah? The New York Rangers. I mean, it's just going to be everywhere. It's just going to be everywhere. So I think that's an exciting thing to look forward to if you're a Ranger fan. Carpiniello was asked if John Tavares moves over to New York, and he says he doesn't believe so. And I tend to agree with him. The Rangers are going to be a rebuild team. Tavares is not going to leave the Islanders to go to a rebuild team. If he does walk, he's going to go to somebody who's super close to winning a championship, or be the thing to put them over the top. Next, I want to just check something before we go. I want to see what the Rangers' cap space is going to be next year. Let's see. As the Rangers sit right now for next season, and this is let's say all their free agents go. This is just the money that they have on the books next year. Forget that. Forget positioning it that way. This is just the money they have on the books next year, which they're not really losing any huge names. Paul Carey, Cody McLeod, David Desharnais is the biggest name that could walk that's not signed so far for next year. They do have a bunch of RFAs, Spooner, Hayes, Nemesnikov. So Nemesnikov will need to get paid. Maybe Spooner, but Spooner is only a under 3, and so is Hayes, is an under 3 player. The Rangers will have next year committed with Henrik Lundqvist, huge, massive $8.5 million contract, $49 million. They'll have upwards of $25 million in cap space next year. Next year and the year after. Given that they don't spend it all next year, or this offseason, the Rangers are going to have $25 million in space this year and probably close to $18 million of space next year. So next year, when Doughty and Carlson and all these guys are up and available, Rangers are going to have their checkbooks wide open. It is, and I've been saying this to everybody who's a Ranger fan, it is an exciting time to be a Ranger fan. Let's be honest. Look yourself in the mirror, Ranger fans, and tell me that this is not the most exciting time to be a Ranger fan since the last time you guys made a cup run. This is it. This is definitely it. This is it for me. Tomorrow on the show, I may have info for the Islander fans out there, or if you're just a fan of hockey, I may have info for you. That's adorable. Is she really saying that? I'm going to give her a lot of money next time I see her, Liz. Tomorrow I may have info on a contest, a giveaway for a John Tavares autograph puck. The radio station that I work for is putting together a partnership with the New York Islanders, and there's like a website you can go to enter, and I'm going to just pass the website along to you guys if you want to enter to win an autographed New York Islanders puck. So share this information to the Islander fans if you're in Red Light Hockey or wherever you are, the Twitterverse, if you listen on the podcast, tweet it out, like the Hockey Talk Show on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, because we're going to be giving away an order. Well, not we. The Islanders are giving it away. You'd be entering to win with them, but I'll give you the address. I'll put a link in the description tomorrow on how you can score that. That's like 99% done, so I feel good enough saying it here. So just keep that in mind. That's coming tomorrow, autographed John Tavares puck. I've thought about doing some giveaways. I've actually had some people reach out to me to give me stuff. And I didn't really want to do that hokiness, but I know that it really helps grow channels pretty quickly. So we'll look into that. We'll see how this goes and see how many people say that they've entered. And then we'll go from there. I'm not going to do predictions because most of the games are already ongoing. I wonder if the first thing I'm going to do once I leave you is see if Susan Sarandon is still in between the boards in the Ranger game. I'm actually looking forward to the Ranger-Pittsburgh game. I want to see how these young kids are doing for the Rangers. Although I understand that D'Angelo is out and hurt, which is not good. Dallas over Toronto right now, 4-2. I think that I think Toronto comes back and gives them a little bit of a hard time. San Jose, Edmonton, give me San Jose. Give me the Vegas Golden Knights at home against the Devils. And give me Anaheim over Vancouver. Give me the Pittsburgh Penguins against the New York Rangers, even though the Rags are at home. Sorry, Ranger fans. I said it's an exciting time. I didn't necessarily mean tonight. Enjoy the hockey. I will see you tomorrow. No noise issues tonight, which is great. We figured out what it was. So that's awesome. Another live show tomorrow. We're really going to try and do this one earlier tomorrow. Hope you'll come back. Enjoy the hockey. I'll see you guys on the next show.